First thing you want to do is adjust these locking brackets outward. You want to place the two springs on the posts on the discharge and ensure that they line up with the posts on the roller. You want to loosen the two bolts holding the discharge unit on the feeder in order to better attach the feeder to the printer. When positioning the feeder on the printer, you want to make sure that the C-hook lands with the knob on the printer. Next, you want to take the locking bracket and slide it over the post and tighten down the thumb screw. You want to make sure you do the rear locking bracket first and then the front one closest to the operating station. This will ensure that the solenoid lines up with the flag on the printer. You want to make sure to attach the reflector for the sensor to the printer. It's a piece of double-sided stick tape, just attaches right next to the roller. Next, you want to take the input roller and slide this mechanism down. Make sure that the white tabs slide through the slots. Once you have the feeder hooked onto the printer, you want to go back in and retighten the 4 bolts that hold the discharge onto the feeder.
I'm going to show a setup on a number 10 envelope. The setup is the same if it's flap up or face up. In this case, we'll show you the setup for the face up envelope. First thing you want to do is you want to take your separating roller or your nip roller, turn the adjustment knob here clockwise. That's going to bring your adjustment up, increasing your gap. Take your envelope, slide it underneath that nip, and then bring down your adjustment knob counterclockwise, which is going to shorten that gap until you get a slight amount of drag underneath the envelope. Next, you want to set your side guides for your product width. First thing you want to do is loosen your locking knobs for the side guides. That's going to allow you to make your adjustment with this knob here. It's a self-centering side guide. Just turn your adjustment knob clockwise until the side guides just barely touch the side of the product, and then just turn it counterclockwise just a pinch. You're going to want some gap between the product and your side guides. Make sure you get a little bit of free flow of product there. Once you have that set, tighten down your 2 locking knobs for the side guides. One feature that this feeder has is a sensor located within the feed belts in the carriage. You can see the transmitting light shining up through the envelope right there. What this does is, in the case of the feeder, when it feeds the last envelope, a piece of product, or in this case an envelope, wouldn't be covering that sensor, and as a safety feature it actually shut down the feeder. Next, we're going to load the hopper with number 10 envelopes. First thing you want to do is take about a 1-inch stack, fan them out like this, and what we're doing here is when you fan them, this is going to match the curvature of your pre-gate plate. So you're already starting your separation process. Take them like that, put them up against the gate plate and just tap them in. Next, we want to adjust our rear wedge assembly. Just loosen the tightening knob, bring it down, lift up your product, and just slide the wedge just barely underneath. You'll see that there's a gap between the bottom piece and your rear deck. Function of the wedge is to lift that product up off the deck so the belts aren't trying to pull that piece off the deck, and you're transferring a little bit of the weight, the stacked weight, up against the pre-gate. Once you have your wedge set, you can go ahead and continue loading the product. Okay, once you have your feeder set up, go ahead and take your jog button. If you press the jog button, what you're going to do is you're going to run envelopes out and stop it right at the end of the hold down belt. Next, you want to set your side guides, both sides. You notice that there's a magnet, 2 magnets. You want those always resting on top of the ferrous supports. Bring each side in to the edge of the envelope. Leave a little bit of gap just like you did on the side guides.
To start the print cycle, you're going to want to jog a piece of product all the way to the end of the discharge belt. Ensure that the switch is in the ready position and press the reset button. The way that the shingling conveyor works, when paper comes out of the printer, it'll land on the deck, and when the sensor is covered, the conveyor will run. When the sensor is uncovered, the conveyor will stop.
Changing the product to a 12 by 18 piece of paper stock. First thing you want to do is change the orientation of your wedge from short product to long product. You do that by taking the wedge assembly off the feeder. Just loosen and take this knob off. Then you have the wedge assembly. You loosen this knob here enough to swing the bottom plate 180 degrees to retighten the knob. Pull your T-nut back up into the slot towards the end of the machine. Replace your locking knob. Just secure that down and make sure it's tight. When setting up your side guides from your number 10 envelope to the 12 by 18 product, it's going to require the side guides to come all the way out to the edge of the frame here. So in order to do that, you're going to have to pull off your accordion guards here. And these are attached with just Velcro, so you can simply just pull these up out of the way. When adjusting your side guides from a number 10 envelope to a 12 by 18 piece of product, you want to take your tightening knobs for your side guides and turn them counterclockwise to loosen them. And then once again, you have your one knob adjustment guide. Turn that counterclockwise to bring your side guides all the way out. Take your piece of 12 by 18 product. Bring your side guides in until they just barely touch the sides of the product, and then open them up just a bit. And retighten your side guides. You want to take your gate adjustment or your nip adjustment, turn it clockwise, which is going to bring your nip roller up and create more distance between your separating device and your sheet of product. Slide your product down underneath and through that gate, and then turn it counterclockwise, which is going to bring that nip roller down until you get a slight amount of drag on your product. Take your magnetic side guides and push them, relocate them all the way to the side frame of the discharge. Next, we'll take about an inch of product, very similar to what we did with the number 10 envelopes. Fan them out or pre-shingle them. Set them in the hopper. Push them up against that pre-gate plate. Lay it back against the wedge. Okay, once you have the product in the hopper, in the feeder, go ahead and depress your jog button. And you want to bring your piece out to the end of your hold down strap, just like you did on the envelopes. This now completes the setup for not only the number 10 envelope, but the 12 by 18 large size product.